Bad news. I'm not gonna be able to get out there. Not with my goddamn leg like this. I'll do what I can from here, but it's not the same. You have no idea how much I wanted to be in the field. I trained for a scenario like this my entire life. But it's worse than anything we could have imagined.
What is up, my frosty brethren? My name is Arctic, and today I'm bringing you guys an initial impressions of The Division. It's a game I was super hype on back in 2013, 2014. I would say that my hype levels have died down for a multitude of reasons. They delayed the game. There's a lot of other stuff out right now. And I guess those are pretty much it. Those are two main reasons. Anyway, so, I played the open beta this past weekend, and I had some people ask me what I thought about the game because they thought I was in earlier. I actually wasn't, but I had some gameplay that I kind of looked at and said, "Oh, this is about what I expected." There's some things that some opinions that I've heard from other people that kind of, I guess, maybe tainted my own a little bit. But I tried to go in as open-minded as possible before providing you guys with any type of impressions about the game. It's certainly, I think, a solid overall experience. I'll say that right now. I think the experience overall in The Division is solid. I think it offers something for a specific somebody out there. And I actually have the game pre-ordered on PC, so I'm going to play it a little bit, but definitely not as much as I was. I think back, if they would have got me in 2013, whenever they first showed it, if they would be like, "Here's the game, boom, it's out," I would be like, "Oh shit, my life is over." But not quite now. So I guess one of the first things I want to talk about is there's a discrepancy, I think, in the visuals between console and PC for sure. And I noticed some gameplay. I won't say it didn't look too bad visually, but I was just kind of floored a little bit by how well the game looked on PC versus Xbox One or PS4 in general. And that's to be expected, but maybe I just didn't see in my mind, like that first trailer that I saw, I just had that vision in my mind for everything. So seeing some of the discrepancies there visually, a little bothersome, just a little bit. I'm not a visual guy, but that's just one of the things I was like, okay, I get it. So I got to mention that. The other thing that I think really sticks out to me is that when you look at this game at a surface level, you see people commenting on it. Even when I first looked at it, I go, "Oh yeah, that's Destiny. That's like the military version of Destiny, third-person form, right?" And then after playing it for an hour and a half, I came to the conclusion that that's the wrong assessment. That's definitely the wrong assessment. So first off, let's put this in the win column for Destiny. Bungie knows how to make a game feel very good. When you put a controller in your hand and you play a Bungie game, it feels phenomenal. They know what they're doing. They make the experience very immersive. The controls feel tight. The controls feel great. And kudos to them. Hats off to them for making a game with very tight mechanics, and it feels good with a controller in your hand. I don't know how it would feel with mouse and keyboard, but I'm gonna assume that they can do the same thing there. I played The Division on PC. I probably should have hooked up my controller just to see how it felt so I can go 1-to-1. But on PC, for me, maybe it's because I'm so used to Gears of War. I played Gears of War on PC, so that could be my 1-to-1. And the controls just didn't feel as good. I think it's just because I'm a third-person guy. I know what Gears feels like. Even Ghost Recon, I think, feels to an extent tighter and better controls than The Division so far. Things felt kind of floaty. I would take cover, and you could chalk it up to beta if you want, but we're only a couple weeks out, so I know it's not going to get significantly better on launch, but maybe a couple months from now or whatever, they'll continue to work on it. But anyway, I take cover from one piece of cover to the next, and then I'd be in some firefights and shooting at some folks, and it just didn't feel as tight as it could have been. There's a couple of times where I took cover on a spot, and then I go to pop over cover, and then I pop out. Or I go to shoot someone, and then they shoulder swap the wrong way. Or I go to shoot someone, and the angle was just wrong. And it's just like, that kind of stuff I don't know. it's a little stuff like that that makes me not as into it, I think, as I could be when I'm trying to be immersed in a character that I really, really, really want to play. So that's just something that kind of stuck out to me a little bit. And it's not jarring, but again, when you play something like Gears of War, or you play something even like I said, Ghost Recon, and you have a storage shooter history, and you play this, and it feels kind of loose, not as tight, definitely noticeable. Maybe some people have some different opinions. I'd love to hear if you thought the controls were super tight, but I was having some doubts there. So I don't know what Ubisoft's plans are with the Division long term. I haven't been up to speed. I don't know if they've addressed this already, but I think one of the major concerns I would have going in is if the end game, whether that be PvE or PvP, I didn't play the Dark Zone at all. Probably play that at another time when the game is actually out. But I'm wondering if the PvE content, specifically the end game, whether the raids or whatever, is going to feel compelling. I think one of the things that Bungie did well is they made their raids, although there's not enough, feel really good. And I don't necessarily know if I have the same type of feeling about the raid content or the end game content for this game. And obviously a lot of the battles, at least in this early stage, levels 4 to whatever 6 or 7 that I got up to in that time span, felt pretty samey. Figured out a couple things I could do to continually whoop the computer's ass, and that was the same thing that occurred in Destiny. So it's not like there's a big hurdle that you have to overcome with general AI encounters, other than not having your body out in the middle of the open so you die. Pretty much you can just kind of run around and shoot at people. Sometimes you have to pop a health pack, but generally speaking, the encounters felt pretty easy to deal with. And I feel like because it's a shooter, it's not going to deviate too far from that at all. So that experience is probably going to feel the same all the way up until you get to a higher level. So kind of wondering how they plan to differentiate that in the long term and what type of plans they have towards that. That's definitely a concern. And, immediate impression is that it's probably not going to deviate too far from what I experienced. So we're going to continue with this Destiny comparison, and then we're going to start deviating a little bit away from that, because ultimately I feel like this game is just not Destiny. But one thing I do want to mention that was a bad thing with Destiny, is probably going to be a bad thing with this game, is the weapon variety is probably not going to feel great, right? You're going to get a level 1 or whatever starting assault rifle is, and when you're at level 20, I could be wrong. Look, maybe they'll throw in some weird alien guns or something like that that the government has been working on. But I feel like the level 20, 30, 40, 50 assault rifle is going to feel like the level 1 assault rifle with some incendiary rounds in it, right? So that is something that I think Destiny suffered from quite a bit. They had all these unique looking, crazy ass weapons, and for the most part, they performed almost identically, right? And it's not something where I think they made a conscious effort not to try to be very exotic. I think it's an expectations for how weapons perform in games that we all have as human beings. If I point at this guy with this weapon and I shoot it, it's probably going to shoot a bullet and it's probably going to kill them. That's our expectation. If you get something and it's like some whizzy whiz, like flying around in the air type weapon and it's bouncing off all types of stuff, you're probably going to be like, what the hell am I shooting? And it's going to be really jarring for you to get used to that. I know firsthand, because I helped build a game where there was stuff like that in the game. Things were bouncing off walls. There was a lot of different stuff. Ultimately, we still had the same issue. So, I feel like Division is definitely going to suffer from people saying, oh, the game's guns feel all the same. I got this level 50 weapon and it feels like the level 1 weapon. And that's probably going to disappoint quite a few folks. Now, here's where I think that the Division, first off, let's stop saying that it is like Destiny, because really the game is like DayZ. It's honestly more like DayZ than Destiny, flat out. It's just that's what it's like. Like, you're running around, you collect food, you're opening up all this stuff and collecting gear. It's like, it reminds me of more like DayZ than Destiny. So let's stop with that. It has a level of depth that I feel like also blows Destiny out of the water. So I played an hour and a half, y'all. An hour and a half. I got to the base. I got in the beta you get 2 characters that you need to unlock different wings in your base. So there's the medical wing, and I got the energy and tech wing, I think, or maybe it was just energy. Anyway, so I walk up to these people and I unlock this stuff, and then there's other menus and other things that you can unlock within the base after you've gotten these people. And I said to myself, it was at that moment in time that I realized I don't have time to play The Division. I just looked at this and I was like, there is way too much shit for me to have to do right now. I can't do that. I spent 1,000 hours on Destiny, mostly playing PvP, and the very samey the campaign feel of it. Sure, I did that over and over again. I imagine the missions and stuff are going to feel very much the same and similar in The Division, but when it comes to what all you're doing and unlocking and seeing, The Division just hands down blows Destiny out of the water. After 2 hours of Destiny, 2 hours, y'all, I was like, this is it? This is the game? And that was the same impression that a lot of you had for the campaign. Let's be real, let's be honest. This is it? I was about halfway through the game at 2 hours in. This is it? And then we got the raid content, which I think is phenomenal in the game. Just not enough. So again, I've mentioned raid content here. I don't know what it's going to look like, but the game feels very deep. It feels like there's a lot to do in this game. And, if we're just scratching the surface right now, I hope to goodness that Ubisoft has a very thought out, very methodical, very strategic plan of action when it comes to content for this game, because they could keep you guys playing for thousands of hours if they manage to pull it off in the right manner. So those are my impressions of this game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe if you've not already. And until the next time, folks, I will catch you all later. Stay frosty. If you like this video, you should probably click on the one down below. That'll take you to another video. You may like it. A little bit about me. I'm a former pro player. I play PC and console, mostly shooters. I also have a gaming podcast. I do tips and tactics, live gameplays. Check out my Twitch. Also, I work in the industry. Why are you not subscribed?